Hey there, my name is Nicole Lynn, and this is my channel where I talk about all things Disney, duh. And today I'm going to be talking about magical moments, so let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, welcome to this edition of Skipper Sunday, where every single Sunday I give you guys a new video talking about my experience working as a skipper on the Jungle Cruise. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here and share all of my fun Disney cast member slash skipper stories for you. And today I wanted to talk about really positive guest experiences. I know that a lot of times videos where cast members talk about guests are usually like weird stories or crazy stories, but thankfully a lot of our guest interactions are actually very positive interactions. We don't have, well, of course, with dealing with the public, we do have some negative and not ideal situations, but majority of them are very positive, and occasionally you get to have like these really awesome magical moments. And I really do think that that's a huge part of working for Disney, and like that's what Disney is all about, is really creating those moments for guests. And I sincerely hope that anytime you go to the park or you go on vacation at Disney, that you have at least one magical moment with a cast member while you're there. Okay, so before I get started, I did want to mention to you guys that I have two giveaways going on right now. I have an Instagram giveaway going on, and I have a YouTube one. For Instagram, I'm giving away a brand new pair of Minnie Mouse candy corn ears, and they will be brand new. They're new tags. This is the pair that I've been wearing. But I'll be giving away a pair of these along with this adorable Mickey Pumpkin Loungefly mini backpack. So one winner will win both of those. If you guys go over to my Instagram and check that out, it'll have all the information for you there. So it's Nicole_disneyduh if you go over to my profile and sign up for that giveaway. And just so you guys know, that giveaway is going to end on Monday, so you have till 9 p.m. Central Time on Monday, October 7th to sign up for that. And then I also have a YouTube giveaway going on right now. So that is going to be for a Disney Villains mystery box giveaway, and that is for the entire month of October. So if you want to learn how to enter that one, you guys are going to click this video right over here, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about that. So super excited about these fun Halloween spooky time giveaways going on right now. So one of my favorite magical moments to do, it was a very easy one, is that if you guys have ever been on the Jungle Cruise, you know that at some point we might have to stall, especially like right before we're going to pull into load. Maybe load is taking a little bit longer, maybe we have our ADA boat loading, and of course that takes a little bit of time. So typically one of my favorite go-tos for stalling was to sing happy birthday to people. But the thing is that Jungle Cruise, we don't sing the usual happy birthday song. So typically what would happen is I would look for somebody who had a birthday button on, and if I couldn't find a birthday button, I would just be like, hey guys, anybody celebrating a birthday? And usually like 99.9% of the time, somebody raised their hand and they were celebrating a birthday, which is awesome. So what would happen is I would get the entire boat to clap, and I'd be like, okay, everybody, I need your help. Everybody clap along for me. So I would get them to clap. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. And then everyone loved that because everyone's expecting the traditional happy birthday, but that's not what we do. And then we're like, hey, do you guys want to hear the second verse? And everyone's like, yeah, let's hear the second verse. So you get everyone to clap again and go, this is the second verse. It's shorter than the yay. And of course that makes people laugh, and normally the person who you're singing to is very excited, especially like kids get so excited. They're like, oh, they're singing this birthday song just for me. And you know, it's just like, again, a fun way to stall. And like sometimes if I knew I had to stall for a while, I would like get people to clap for a really long time before I would start singing it. I personally think that that was like such an easy thing to do, but it got people so excited, it made people so happy. Occasionally you definitely had guests who like did not appreciate that their family just like threw out the fact that it's their birthday and the entire boat just sang to them, but most of the time people enjoyed it. So as you guys know, cast members, sometimes we unfortunately have to be like, especially in our role as attractions cast members, we have to be like safety critical people, and so that means that there are just like certain regulations that the park follows, and we have to enforce those regulations. So one of those for us at Jungle Cruise is that we don't allow people to have their kids on their shoulders in the queue, and that's because it's an outdoor queue and it has low hanging ceiling fans. So when a kid is on your shoulders, they get really close to the ceiling fan, and we're just nervous that the kid is going to be injured. And that's also why we don't allow balloons to come through our queue. If you have a balloon with you, we take it and we put it like next to where the ride exit is, and you can pick it up before you get off. So if we see somebody in the queue with the kid on their shoulders, we will let them know, hey, you need to take your kid down. And I found that sometimes people get really cranky about this, and I understand. Like, I've traveled to Disney with kids in our party, and just sometimes they get really cranky about standing, and you can't bring your stroller in the queue, so they just like want to be picked up. And of course, one of the easiest ways to have your kids like picked up is to put them on your shoulder. So I understand that is like frustrating, especially if you're waiting a long time, but we are at the end of the day just really concerned about safety. So normally the way I'll walk over, and I always try to do it like a nice sarcastic, I didn't try to be like make fun of people. So I'd be like, hi, I don't know if you know this, but there's a kid on your shoulders. And they would kind of laugh, and I'd be like, hey guys, just so you know, you can't have kids on your shoulders because of our low hanging ceiling fans. And sometimes we make a joke, we're like, we just don't want your kid to get like an unexpected haircut. That's normally what we say, like to try and make it nice and like a lighthearted thing. So it's, even though we're telling them something about like a safety aspect of our attraction, we don't want to upset the guests and make it a positive experience. Okay, so another fun thing I love doing is that guests oftentimes take pictures, and sometimes they like to take selfies of them on the boat. So one of my favorite things to do, and every single opportunity I could find, is I would try and photobomb, like make a crazy face, but like in the background of their picture, because sometimes people directly ask like, hey, can I take a picture with you like as a skipper, and that's always fine, but sometimes they just are like taking a selfie with their family. And also, I definitely, more times than not, if somebody asked me to take a picture, what I would do is I would switch it to the selfie mode, take a picture of myself, and then switch it back and take a picture of them. I wouldn't be rude and like not take a picture of them, like that's not professional, but I always thought it was funny, like hopefully they're going through their photos later and they see like this random picture of me on their phone. And definitely we had like greeter positions at Jungle Cruise, like people who stand in front of the ride. So when I was wheelchair assist, which meant I was waiting, like looking out for people who were in wheelchairs so that I could, you know, take them through those necessary steps. You know, sometimes you have a lot of standing around if there's no wheelchairs coming your way, and people love to take pictures in front of the attraction, like with the Jungle Cruise sign. And one of my favorite things was to hardcore photobomb those pictures and like do crazy things in the pictures. I don't know if that really counts as a magical moment. That may not have been super magical for the guests, for me photobombing their pictures, but hopefully some people found that funny and got a laugh out of it. I always really appreciated it when guests gave us gifts, and like especially this became super prevalent around the holidays and like during the Christmas parties, is that people would always just have like little treat bags with like candy canes or stuff like that. One time I had this little boy, he was on my boat and I was chatting with him a little bit when we were stalling, and he got off and I ended up getting off, like that was my last boat, so I got rotated out of the boat. So when I was heading to my land position, this little kid that was on my boat, he followed me and he like caught my attention and he grabbed my hand, and I was like, what is going on? And he put this bracelet on my wrist, and it was like just like this really simple braided bracelet, and I was like, but he like literally grabbed my hand and put it on my wrist for me, and he was like 5 years old, and it was so cute. So I always loved when guests did that for us, and like getting appreciation from guests, like it meant so much. And even if it was something so simple as, like I said, like a little piece of candy and like a thank you note, it's still like, it was so nice for them to take time during like their trip and their vacation to do that for cast members. So one of the downsides of working at Jungle is that since we are in Florida and we do get thunderstorms regularly, our attraction closed down. So we had to close due to weather. And so then what would happen is all the skips would stand in the front of the attraction, and as guests would come up, we would let them know the attraction was down. And of course that's very disappointing to people, and some people get really mad at you. But the nice thing about this is if we were down for like a long time, like if we knew we would be down for at least an hour, after the initial like letting people know, and people aren't necessarily aware that all outdoor attractions at the Magic Kingdom are closed yet, once we get through like that initial 15-minute phase, then we get to do something that I think is really fun, which is called a dry cruise. And you guys can look this up on YouTube, but it's actually where we do the Jungle Cruise like we would on the river, but we call it a dry cruise because obviously we're on land. So basically one skip gets to be the skipper, and he'll do the entire cruise and he'll perform it like he's on a boat, but it's like really hypothetical because we're not on a boat. So he kind of has to like narrate it as he goes. And then the rest of the skips, we actually like act out the show scenes, and like we have to be like the butterflies and the python and the gorillas in the camp, and like even like the dead zebra, or I'm sorry, the tired zebra. Yeah, he's just dead tired, sorry. And so it was really fun to get like a crowd around us and, you know, watch these dry cruises. And sometimes we would even do audience participation if we felt comfortable doing that. So I felt like that was like a nice way to make a really not so great situation fun and special. Also, there was one time where we were all standing out there because we were closed, and a guest came up and they were like, hey, so one of our friends is in the hospital and he wasn't able to come on this vacation, but he loves Jungle Cruise. Do you mind if we get a picture with a bunch of the skips, since we were all basically standing around answering guest questions? And we were like, yeah, you can. So we literally had like 10 of us in this picture with her to send to her friend who was in the hospital, and it was so funny. But then the next thing that happened is that other people were like, hey, I want a picture with the skippers. So like we became like this temporary photo stop where like people just kept coming up, and of course all the skips were really doing crazy things and like we're taking silly pictures. Like we are not taking it seriously at all, but that was kind of funny. So it was like fun. We're like, hey, we need a character attendant for our character spot over here. So my next two stories have to do with dead boats. So if you guys don't know this, Jungle Cruise boats, they actually can die. Either it's a like maintenance issue where the boat, like something goes wrong with the motor or the engine. I actually really don't know that much about boats, but also they can also run out of gas. They're like cars, they run on gas, and if they run out, they will stop working. And so you have to, if a boat dies, you have to wait for a boat to come and rescue you, and there's like a whole process for that I won't get into. But I have been both on the boat that died, and I have been stuck behind boats that have died, because if a boat in front of me dies, I'm not going anywhere because I can't go around them, so you just have to wait. So one time I was on dock and a boat died, and I believe it was during a Christmas party. And Disney is like so into the theming and stuff, so our coordinators instructed us to not say that a boat died. They told us to say that the boat got lost. And so we get to take the liberty of creating this whole day story. So me and my friend are at load, and we're just having this conversation with guests like, oh yeah, you know, Skipper Maggie, she got lost in the jungle, you know, it happens all the time, like, and you know, just like creating this entire story going back and forth. But it was just really fun to tell guests like that came up. They're like, hey guys, just so you know, one of our skips, they got lost in the jungle, unfortunately, so we're just waiting to find them and then we'll be back up. And like sure enough, 20 minutes later we were running again. But I think people kind of appreciated us like making up this elaborate story about Skipper Maggie getting lost in the jungle and getting into trouble with you know, hippos and stuff like that. So I just that was always fun, that Jungle Cruise, that you get to kind of theme everything. Like you don't necessarily, and I know some guests don't appreciate it, they just want the truth, like seriously what's going on. And so you kind of had, it's like read the room situation. But I always thought it was fun, and I feel like most people appreciate it when you come up with the stories, and they kind of, it just again makes a situation that maybe isn't ideal a little bit better. So another dead boat situation is one time I got stuck behind a dead boat, and I think I've been stuck behind, I've been stuck behind two, and I died on one personally. And I feel like the first two times this happened to me, it did not go well. Like, the guests were very cranky, and of course it is a process. Like, it doesn't happen quickly. Like, the rescuing situation, it's going to be probably at least a 20-minute delay where you are going to be stuck on the boat with us. And so we always try and stall like skips. We always try and talk to guests. And I mean, for me, I was doing my best, but also when you're on a boat of people who are very cranky about the situation and just are like mad that they're stuck on the boat. And of course, like, I'm not saying it's of course an inconvenience. I'm saying like you don't have the right to be frustrated, but I felt like most of the time I was trying so hard to like make it a better situation for the guests, but they just did not care. Like, all they wanted to do was be off the boat. But the third time, like the last time this happened to me, it happened at night, and it happened like right at the beginning of the ride. Like, if you guys have been on Jungle Cruise at Disney World, we were literally at Pygmy Beach, which is like the first show scene, and the boat had died over at Gorilla Camp, and so we had to wait quite a while because it was going to take a really long time for them to get to us. And so thankfully I had a really great boat of people who, like, we would talk to each other, and then there were like 3 of us all backed up there because there was a boat in front of me that died, and then there was a boat behind me. And so sometimes, like, us, we would be on our mics, like, talking to each other. At one point we got like all 3 of our boats to sing the entire 12 Days of Christmas song, which if you guys have ever sang that song all the way through, it's like forever long, which that was a great time killer. But it was kind of crazy. Like, we're just sitting in the middle of Jungle Cruise at night, and we're just chatting with guests. And I always, when I am like desperate for stall material, especially in that situation, I just go to like Jungle Cruise history. And like, thankfully, since we were on Pygmy Beach, it was able to point out a hidden Mickey for people, and that got really excited. So I just thought that it was great, like, getting to know people. Like, some people on my boat, they were from the UK. They were on like a 2-week vacation, or a holiday as they say in the UK. So it was a really great experience getting to know people and try and again make a situation that's not ideal much better. And we all kind of laughed and made jokes about it. And I don't know if it was just because like it was the evening, so people were just like in less of a hurry, whereas the other 2 happened like in the morning. So I'm not really sure, but most of my experiences with dead boats were not positive, but that last one ended up being really fun. So at Jungle Cruise, we used to have a magical moment, whereas different attractions have different magical moments, and I can't really think of any other than, I know Haunted Mansion, they have like their maid and butler of the day, so they actually pick 2 kids every day and they dress them up as a maid and a butler and like have their picture taken. Jungle Cruise, we used to have the opportunity to let kids drive the boat, and then we would give them a skipper license. Well, unfortunately, by the time I got to Jungle Cruise, they had deemed that it was not safe for kids to be driving the boat because technically no one is allowed to stand on the boat when it's in motion. So technically we weren't supposed to let kids stand up, so the only person standing is the skipper. So we weren't allowed to do that anymore, which was really unfortunate because I had kids come up to me and say, hey, can I steer the boat? And you would have to tell them no, which always like super bummed me out. And they'd be like, well, I got to do it last summer or something like that. So I was always like really sad. Normally what I would let them do is when we got on dock, I would let them turn the wheel because, spoiler alert guys, Jungle Cruise on a track, we don't steer the boat. But sorry if that just ruined all your hopes and dreams and shattered your entire world. So that's really the only reason I could let them, is I had my hand on the throttle keeping the boat still while they steered the boat, but it definitely wasn't the same thing. And also, we really didn't ever have skipper licenses. Occasionally we would have them there and we could hand them out, but for the most part we like never had them. So instead what we did is we ended up having like these coins that had jungle animals on them. They're like those dollar store coins that you could buy. And what I would normally do is I would just keep a couple in my pocket and I would hand them out to kids. Like, it was something so easy. It's like stickers. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, if you can tell a kid is upset, maybe they're scared about riding the attraction, because we get a lot of kids that come over from Pirates and they're really scared because they're about to get on another boat and they ask if it has a hill. So sometimes you can give them a coin. It makes them feel better. And sometimes they just are really excited about Jungle Cruise, and then you give them a coin and they're like, what, this is so cool. My friend Skipper Palma, she actually figured out how to do like that trick where she makes it look like she pulled a quarter out of your ear, but she did it with like our jungle coins. And that was one of my favorite things, was to watch kids' faces light up because she pulled like a Jungle Cruise coin out of their ears, and they'd be like, oh, what? And their mind was blown. I don't know if I like ever had like this one really specific magical moment. It just meant that Disney, you kind of got to work with a lot of people and create magical moments throughout your day. So another really easy one for us, and especially like if people are nice and our line is not like crazy, is that sometimes I was more than happy to, of course, like let people into the fast pass line. So, you know, if people would be out front, maybe they were waiting on their fast pass, but their fast pass wasn't going to be good for like another 20 minutes. And like, it was so easy to just like let them in and be like, hey guys, just come on in. And sometimes even like people who, they're just nice, they're friendly, and you would be like, hey, do you guys just want to go in our fast pass line? And like, that was such an easy thing, but like people got so excited about it. They're like, yeah, I want to go in your fast pass line. So one of my favorite magical moments, and it's funny because it didn't even happen at Jungle Cruise, it happened at a trick-or-treat shift. So, you know, at a treat shift, we're in charge of candy. So one of my favorite things to do was to sneak bags, like full bags of candy. And like, this is toward the end of the night, just to be fair, like we know that Disney has like a ton of candy, and also I know that whatever is left in those buckets at the end of the night, they don't put them back in a box. I believe they just dump it or something like that. So it's just gonna get thrown out. And so one of my favorite things to do was to collect bags of like full bags of candy and kind of like put them off to the side, because the candy people were like crazy. Like, that's a whole nother story, where they like were making sure we weren't giving away too much candy, even though people were paying so much money to be at that party. Like, they deserved a lot of candy. We did have some issues with the candy people, let's just put it that way. And so I had to sneak bags of candy. And like at the end of the night, what would happen is at midnight we would have to close the trick-or-treat stop. So like people would be, because it encourages people to leave because we're trying to clear out the park. So what I would do is I would like hide these bags of candy, and then I would go out as people are like exiting the park, and I would like find a family that I was like, okay, I feel like they need like a magical moment, and you just kind of like pick and choose. Like, that's really hard to do. And you know, I would just walk up to them and be like, hey guys, happy Halloween, here's, and you just hand them a full bag of candy, and they would get so excited. And this one family, I went and I saw that they were a family of 4 with 2 kids, and I handed them a full bag of candy, and I was like, here you guys go, happy Halloween. Kids came and hugged me, even the mom hugged me, and they were all so happy. And I think something had happened where like one of the kids got sick, or I don't remember the full story, but for some reason they really didn't get to do much at the party because someone was sick or not feeling good, or maybe it was an injury. I like feel really bad that I don't remember. But they were like hugging me, and they were like, we didn't get to do any trick-or-treating, so thank you so much. Like, this literally made our night. And it was like, it was something so easy for me too. All I had to do was just fill up a bag of candy and hand it off to people, and it made a huge difference for them. And like, you know, like something so simple. And I think that's like the cool thing about magical moments, is they don't need to be like these big elaborate, like you're gonna win a free Disney trip, or we're gonna give you a VIP tour of the Cinderella suite. Like, they're just like simple things, like giving jungle coins or letting people in your fast pass line, you know, things so simple and small, but it makes a huge difference. And I loved having the ability to do that. That was like my favorite part of my job. I would say that one of my favorite parts of working at Jungle Cruise, and like truly one of the most magical parts about working at Disney in general, is you come across a lot of Make-A-Wish kids. So it is a very sad thing. And if you guys don't know what Make-A-Wish is basically a wish granting organization for, you know, severely ill children. And you always know who these families are because sometimes they're wearing like shirts or buttons that say Make-A-Wish, but also they have this lanyard that has the genie from Aladdin on it, and like that lanyard gets them into the fast pass line. Like, they just automatically get to go in. We don't need to see a fast pass from them. When you have severely ill kids, we are normally getting them through our wheelchair lines. So they're going to be on like our actual ADA boat, where we can load somebody who can't transfer out of a wheelchair, or a rope boat, which makes it more secure for them to get in and out of the boat if they have, you know, mobility problems. So if you were the skip on either the ADA boat or you were on the rope boat, those families got loaded on first, and you would kind of get to start talking to them, because sometimes that can be like a long process. And so you get to talk with them and interact with them before the rest of the guests get on the boat. And they just kind of get to be like your people. Like, you know that they, like, I'm not saying like we don't try and create magical moments for people, but these are people that you really want to do something special for. So, you know, the cool thing about like the wheelchair boat is that the lift is like directly in the center of the boat. So it's like directly in the skip's line of view. So you get to kind of perform directly to them, make them feel special, have a conversation with the family. And I even think sometimes they just want to be treated like a normal guest. They don't want to be treated special. They want to feel like a normal family on a family vacation. So just have a conversation with them. And how's your day? What did you do today? What are you looking forward to on your vacation? You know, stuff like that. And the cool thing about Jungle Cruise is, of course, we get to make them laugh, and you get to experience that attraction as a family. So you get to see these people who, you know, they're going through something that nobody should have to go through. No, like, you have the ability to create this magical moment for them, like this experience where they all get to laugh and be a family together. And so there was something like truly amazing about that. And, you know, it was, I think, it was a big eye-opener to me when I worked at Disney, is how many people go through the Make-A-Wish program, and how many, you know, sick kids there are out there. And like, that's so sad to me. And but it's like something that, it was such an honor, I should say. Like, it wasn't like, you're welcome, I just created this great experience for you. It was more like, thank you for allowing me to do something so significantly small to make your life a little bit better, and bring a little bit more joy into your life. And so that was just like truly such a magical thing for me in my experience. So yeah, like I said, guys, these were like, I mean, I don't really feel like I had any like crazy big magical moments with guests or anything like that. I think it was just, you know, every day you try and have these positive guest experience. You do what you can. It's the little things that I think were just so much a part of why I loved my job and why I loved working at Disney in general. Next Skipper Sunday, I will be telling you guys my worst guest experiences, but I did want to tell you guys about these positive ones, because it certainly was such a blessing to meet so many people and hang out with all these cool families. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow, and always remember, own your magic. Bye guys.